Good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be working on the Sugar Rush Workshops Your Way cards, and I wanted to take a moment and let you know what supplies you need so you can go grab them and get organized for yourself before we start playing and assembling these cards. So the first thing I always gather is some baggies that I put the number of the cards on so that while we're cutting we can just slip the cuts into the bag. So that's the first thing I get are my baggies. You're going to need Pomegranate stamp pad, a Blossom stamp pad, and a Sea Glass stamp pad. I've got Pomegranate, the only one out, because that's the one I'll be needing to finish up what I'm doing. You will need a block, the one that fits all of our stamps this time. I believe this is 2x2. Yes, this is a 2x2. I was looking for the measurements. Some of our blocks have measurements on them. This is the 2x2. It'll fit all the stamp images that we're using today. You will need the Sugar Rush stamp. You'll need the Sugar Rush thin cuts, which I'll show you those in just a moment. The washi that comes with the workshop. You will need 9 card bases. You'll need the sparkles that come in the workshop. And then I pre-stamped my images. So I've got card 6. There's the images for card 6. There's the images for card 5. There's the images for card 4. That way I can show you how to do the big shot. So I've pre-stamped those. And then this is the paper that we'll be using. This is just some scrap paper that I had, so I'm going to be using scraps. But you'll need White Daisy, Whisper cardstock, White Daisy cardstock, the Sprinkle B&T paper, the Sugar Rush B&T paper, and the Circles B&T paper. You may have scraps from when you did the workshop. You may have a full sheet, depending on which part of the bag you pull open. So I'll set those aside for one moment. And then the other item that you need is some sort of Cuttlebug, Big Shot, something along those lines so that you can do the thin cuts. And then you will need the thin cuts that come with this stamp set. And you'll need all 3 of the images. I also wanted to take a moment to show you my thin cuts binder. This is, I've just got little thin cuts on it so when it's on the shelf I can find it. This is an Everyday Life album. And inside I just have the 4x6 protectors. And then you just trim a little bit off the magnetic sheet. And they slide right into these pockets. And then I just cut this off the label and put it on the back so I know which thin cut it is. And I'm not guessing. And then I have my stamps all together, stored all together. But this is just a nice way for me to keep all my thin cuts together. So again, this is an Everyday Life album. It is Z2813. And then the 4x6 page protectors. This is a couple of packs of page protectors that I have in here. The 4x6 page protectors are Z2813. And then the card bases, I buy the value pack of the card bases. You can make your own card bases if you like, but I buy the value pack. The White Daisy value pack that comes with cards and envelopes, it comes with 50 cards and 50 envelopes. The number is X254. So you'll be needing those as you're making the cards. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the baggies so I don't get them messed up. 1, 2, 3. Because me and the ink pad argue. And I've been known to put my elbow in the ink pad, and then my elbow on the card, and then everything has ink on it. And then I get frustrated. But that's just because I'm a messy stamper. Okay, and I obviously can't count this morning, so hold on one second. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. Okay, I have an electric Big Shot, so mine just has a button. It doesn't have a crank. I am using the magnetic Sizzix board. It's made for thinlits, so I know it will work for our thin cuts. And this just means that when I put it down, it's going to hold. And I don't have to worry about moving around too much. So I put that plate down. I put this plate down so that I don't harm the magnetic. I'm going to show you with this one how to do the cuts. But I can't do too many because my family's still sleeping. So I'll make these couple of cuts, and then I will have to wait till a little bit later in the day to finish filming so the family doesn't get upset with me. So hold on, let's run this through. So we'll pop that out. Okay, I'm not sure why I took the mat down. Pop this one on and see how it just kind of stays put. Sometimes there's a sweet spot on the magnet. Kind of like the positive and negative, you have to find it. But once you do, it stays put. Nope, you moved. I don't like it when you move. Boy, if you think these move on the magnet, you should try without the magnet. I used to have all kinds of trouble before I had the magnet. So there's that. So these are these 3 cuts. I'm going to pop them in the card 4 bag. Keep them clean. Okay, so the first cut, we're going to cut the zip strip off. Because we don't need the zip strip for the cards. I'm going to set it aside. I'm about to fall off my bar stool. Hold on. There we go. So the first cut is 4 1/4 by 3. We're going to do 3 cuts of 3. This is going to go in the number 5 bag. I would ordinarily write 5A on the back, but I forgot to bring a pen over here, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to set these aside. This is scrap, so I'm going to set it aside. The next one that we're going to be using is the sprinkle paper. It's sprinkled on this side and red on this side. I'm going to cut the zip strip off. Actually, because I did this last time, let's do this side on the zip strip so we can see what we're cutting. And then the first cut we're going to do is 2 1/2. So 2 1/2. I'm going to turn it and do 3 3/4. 1, 2, 3. And these are going to go in the number 4 bag. This is going to go in our scraps. The next cut is going to be, just stick my finger in that. The next cut is going to be 5 1/2 by 3 1/2. I'm going to do 3 cuts at 3 1/2. And these are going to go in the 6 envelope. The next sheet of paper, and I'm using scraps for this one, so you are either going to have scraps if you did the workshop on the go layouts, or you'll have a full sheet of this. But I'm using scraps. And I need to turn my cheat sheet over. Put it back on my corkboard. Okay, so my first cut is going to be 4 1/4. This part is scraps by 5 1/2. And then I need 2 more. So 4 1/4. By 5 1/2. And these are going to go in the number 4 bag. Our next cut is going to be Whisper. And ordinarily, before I would make the next 2 cuts, I would check my scrap bin and see if I've got any scraps that are this size that I could cut 3 out of. I've already checked my scrap bin and I do not, so I'm going to use full sheets of paper, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. So 2 3/4. See, this is how much scrap you have. So I always try to get some scrap sheets out of this. By 4. I try to use my scraps first. Let's say that way. I'll double check, make sure I cut right. I did. And these are going to go in the number 4 bag. The bags are going to make sense in just a minute. I know you're looking at me going, I don't get it. It'll get it. Just bear with me for just a moment. And then these, you're not going to believe the amount of scrap left on this. It's 2 3/4. This is going to go in the scrap bin. And I need 3 cuts of 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is going to go in the number 6 bag. You should have 3 bags. Okay, we'll need our washi tape that comes in the workshop. We will need our sugar dots, and we'll need the pomegranate ink set, and we will need the stamp set that comes with the thin cuts. This was an extra purchase. It does not come with the workshop. The stamp set by itself is 1671, And I will have to look up the thin cuts. I forgot to look that number up before I started filming. I'll have to look up the thin cut set if you want the thin cuts to go with this. So let's start with our first card. We're going to set 5 and 6 aside. We're going to take our cheat sheet off. Okay. So you should have donut bases, card bases, or mats, card bases, sprinkles, frosting, and tags. So we're going to make little piles so we know where everything is. And for this, I'm going to put my eyeballs back on. Okay. So this is an adhesive that Close to My Heart does not sell. It is sold on Amazon. It's called Score Tape. I will put the link down below. I use Score Tape when I'm making cards because it is for, let's put this on the right piece of paper, shall we? It is formulated for boxes, like if you're making paper boxes with your scoreboard, and the boxes don't fall apart. So I was thinking if the boxes do not fall apart, then my cards are not going to come apart in shipping if you mail them. Texas, the summers can get over 100 degrees. When you mail the cards, sometimes the adhesive can fail. And then the person that you're trying to mail the card to, they open the envelope and all your little bits and pieces are in the bottom of the envelope. Okay, so we've got Score Tape on all the corners. I'm going to pull it off. And we're going to put it on this side. Now once this is down, there is no taking it up. So just word to the wise, be careful when you're laying it down. We're going to take the mat, and we're going to take the sprinkle paper and put them together. I always do a dry run to make sure my cut was correct. Well, if I could hold my scissors today, that would be good. Alright, I'm using my grid mat to make sure it's straight. And then I'm just going to lay it down. And they want a donut right in the middle. So we're going to use the score pal on this piece and foam tape on this piece to give it a little dimension. Is it straight? It's straight. Little dimension there. It does not take a lot of the foam tape to do its job. Just a snippet. Checking to make sure I'm in frame. This is actually the second time I've shot this video. The first time I did not realize that everything was out of frame. You couldn't see anything. And I went, well, that's not going to work. We're going to do a sprinkle with love. Okay, so let's adhere this to the card. I don't know if you've noticed we are in a different filming location. So just like that. We were trying to find, see, this will tell you right here, I've already filmed it once. I've got sparkles missing. So I hope I have enough sparkles to make it through, or I will improvise. I'm trying to figure out where to put that. Improvise and use some different sparkles. We were working on getting a better lighting situation, and I bought this little gooseneck lamp thinking it would go over my monitor, and it was just a hair too short. So I thought, okay, that's not going to work. So my husband, my husband and I were contemplating different ways of doing the lighting. And I said, oh, well, okay, well, while we've got this, since it's not going to work, there's one card. Since it's not going to work, let's put it over by the Big Shot. And, well, let's do this in order so you guys will not be lost. And that'll give me some task lighting over by the Big Shot. And the minute he put it on the wall, and I looked down and there was my mat. And I went, okay, there's my filming station. That's it. I have a picture of it on my Facebook group, if you'd like to go over there and see what the filming station looks like. The only thing I'm getting used to is I'm not used to scrapping standing up. So I have been trying to find a bar stool that's the right height that I'm not going to fall off of while I'm working. And it's proving to be a bit challenging. Because I've got one that's comfortable, but it's a hair short. And then I've got another one that's the right height, but my feet dangle. And when I was filming this the first time, I kept putting my feet to sleep. And then, oh, how do you put this delicately? The seat of the bar stool that is the right height is a little small. Let's just put it that way. Not much small, just a wee small. So not only am I putting my feet to sleep, but my rump doesn't want to stay on and I keep trying to fall off. So I'm going to try standing up and see how well we do there. I'm going to assemble this card so you can just see it 2 times in a row. See how incredibly simple these cards are to put together? I mean, we did the cutting guide in nothing flat. And now we're putting together 3 cards really quickly. And these are just adorably cute cards. Yeah, to me the longest process in even doing these is cutting out the thin cuts. And like I was showing you a bit earlier, I find it easier to stamp the images first, like to stamp the donut, and then go back with the thin cut and cut it out. The only one that proves a little bit difficult is this guy here. He stamps beautifully, but when you go to cut him out, you kind of have to line up this edge here with the thin cut, kind of lay it over, the design will line up perfectly, and that's when you know you have a good cut. If it doesn't line up, don't keep working with it till it does. Keep turning it kind of clockwise until it lines up, and you'll see it, and you'll be like, okay, there it is. Like I said, you can use a cuddle bag, you can use a Big Shot, you can use, I've got the electric Big Shot. What are the other die cut machines out there? I've got the electric one because I make so many cards in succession that if I had to use a crank, my hand would fall off. Now we're just going to put the banner on. If I can find the end of my score tape, there it is. Okay, so now we're just going to put it on. It was funny, in the first video that I deleted because you couldn't see what was going on, I made a huge glaring error in the second card. See, I dropped it, so there's no sense in even trying to pick it up. Just lay it down wherever you can lay it. It will adhere. Made a huge glaring error with the second card, but I did show you how to fix it. So if I do it again, I'm going to die laughing, but I will show you how to fix it. I stamped on this side, but I assembled it on this side. So this side had all the pretties, and that side had the birthday. And oh my goodness, it was so funny. Because I'm sure you guys would have noticed it immediately. But I was just talking, not paying attention to what I was doing, until I got it completely finished, and then I was like, oopsie. Okay. I don't know if you noticed a few minutes ago when I was doing the sparkles, I use an X-Acto knife to pick up my sparkles. You couldn't see. Take your tip, pick it up, see it's just on the tip, and I just lay it down. I don't touch the knife, I just touch the sparkle, and I pull it out. So it's just the tip. See? Please, 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 if you use this method, please be careful. You can cut yourself and not even realize it. Okie dokie. So for this one, this is card number 5. We're going to need the donuts. There's the third one. There it is. The donut paper. The frosty. And you will notice if you're working along with the instructions, there is a strip of paper that is striped that goes under the donuts. Well, actually, let me show you, because I've still got it here. This piece of paper right here, I used all of it when I was making these cards, so I'm not going to have that on this particular card that we're putting together today, because I used it for this one. So I'm going to be one short. And lesson learned today is I'm going to stamp it last. So we're going to use the birthday stamp for this one right here. Happy birthday with sprinkles on top. Let me put down my little foam mat. I'm going to put it on the block, I'm going to squish, I'm going to put it on the mat and squish, and that guarantees that it's on. I'm going to just set it aside for a minute, because the first thing I'm going to do is adhere. So again with our score tape, get that down. fix this one because it kind of went over the edge. There we go. Alright. Lay it down ever so gently if you're using score tape. If you're not using score tape, you can do your tape runner on the card base and on the B&T. Squish them together, adhesive to adhesive, and that'll hold fairly strong. I sell my cards professionally, so I need to make sure that they're not going to fall apart, which is one reason why I use the score tape, even though it's a product that close to my heart does not sell. So we're going to do our little washi tape here. This is the hearts. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm going to run mine straight on the B&T. And I'm not going to worry over much about getting it exactly perfect on the edges because I've got my palette knife here. And it makes a gorgeous cut. This is a palette knife just from Michaels. You find it in the art department. And it cuts washi like nobody's business. It cuts a gorgeous straight edge. Just like that. And then we lay down our donut. With the other set of cards that I made, this is the one that I goofed up. And I stamped over here and did all the pretties over here. And then went, oopsie! But today, I'm doing it different. I have learned my lesson. Watch. Watch me. Now that I've said that, I'll do something upside down. Just because I've said that. Come on, scissors. There we go. This is just the foam tape that Close to My Heart sells. You get two different sizes. You get the narrow and the wide. I'm using the narrow most often for this card. Sit. Just line up your little circles. And then this is where you stamp the sentiment. I'm going to wait until I get all three of them put together. And these are going together so quickly I may leave the camera on while we're doing this. I'm trying to get the filming done with no battery dying, which is why I keep turning the camera off. I said in the last video that I deleted while I was doing some assembly that when I first became a consultant, I did not know about the acrylic stamps. And I don't know if you can see how you can see completely through the stamp, and it is just completely clear all the way around. I had no idea about these things. In my world, it was still wooden stamps, and I was not a wooden stamper because I couldn't stamp well to save my life. I couldn't see what I was doing. Everything would always end up crooked. So I remember telling my husband that I would only sell the paper, that I would not be a stamper. I wouldn't even bother selling the stamps. And then my very first catalog is the one that they came out with the stamps. And oh my goodness, when I was able to see, because they sent me a sample stamp, whenever I was able to see what the stamp looked like and how well it was engineered and how well it stamped and how easy it was and that it made me look fantastic. Well, 11 years later, let's just, guess what? Long adhesive. 11 years later, let's just say I now have to be ruthless with my stamp bins, I only have so many drawers in my storage unit to store my stamps. So every time we come out with a new catalog, I have to be very, very ruthless about what I keep and what I get rid of and what I sell in my garage sales. And if it's not a stamp that I absolutely love, I don't keep it, I sell it. So if you are ever local to me and you come into my free crops or you come into a workshop that I do in my home, you will notice that there's always a paper bin for sale that I make little kits. If I've got full sheets of paper left over, I make little kits of paper for sale. And then I also have a bin of stamps for sale. Always. So you're always welcome for those. And like, hopefully next weekend I will be vending at the Girl Scouts of North Texas scrapbook garage sale. I don't know if I'm a vendor yet because I was a late sign up. I didn't know about it until about a week and a half ago. So hopefully I have a spot. I'm hoping I hear from them soon. If I don't, the items will just stay here. They'll get sold eventually. But if I do have a spot at the garage sale, it is the North Texas Girl Scout Service Center. So I want to say Summerfield Drive off of Preston in Dallas. They have graciously donated space for that day. It's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And all it is a whole bunch of people. It's not like a typical craft fair. It's just a whole bunch of people selling off scrapbooking supplies for very, very cheap. Like my paper packs that I make are $3 a piece. My cardstock packs, that is cardstock, cardstock, ink re-inkers, and thread, the matching threads. Altogether, those are $5. And then all of my stamps are $5. So, and you'll find a lot of direct salespeople there just selling retired product. And it's such a good way to pick up items that you have either been looking for or, like last year I had a lady working on her daughter's high school album and she needed certain colors that had been retired. And I happened to have them. She was a happy, happy camper that day. Because I'm gonna trim just this very little bit off because that's enough to bug me. But she was just a very happy camper to have found those because it was retired colors. They were not for sale any longer. I have found product that I've been looking for there in the past, and if it's anything like it was last year, the money I made from the garage sale I used at my national convention. So that was my spending money at national convention, where I went with close to my heart and learned how to use all the new products that were coming out. Okay, so we're down to the stamping portion. We're using the birthday stamp. It says happy birthday with sprinkles on top. We're using the pomegranate ink. We're just going to, if you've never used our stamps before, all of them come with a foam mat. And see how it's just picked up the ink? And you can still see right through it. I'm going to line it up. The foam mat just helps get a more even stamping surface. Sometimes I will tape the foam mat down and I will put a piece of scratch paper over the top of the foam mat, and you can still feel it whenever you're working. You can just kind of feel around and know where the mat is. And that way I've got scratch paper that if I overstamp over the edges, I'm not messing up my tabletop. Okay, so we're going to close this. This is one of the old style stamp pads. We're going to get out my double scrubber. This is our stamp cleaner. I have just decanted it into a pink container because it makes it easier to find on my desk. I had a horrible time trying to find it in the other container, and then when it finally wore out, I buy it in refills. The refill size is in the catalog. And I was like, well, why can't I just buy the refill and put it in my own bottle? So that's what I've been doing. And now I can find my bottle on my desk. Put that right back there. Okay, so the only other thing left to do is add sparkles. And I'm going to get the X-Acto knife again. Be very, very careful with the X-Acto knife. I think with this one, because I'm getting low on these, so I think with this one I'm going to use these guys. Yep. You can use whatever color sparkle combination you like. It doesn't even have to be these sparkles. If you have a little sparkle collection and you see a sparkle you like, put it on here. If it makes you happy, use it. Because what good is having a hobby if it doesn't make you happy? I adore scrapbooking. Try not to let it stress me out. I have to tell myself sometimes it's only paper. Everything is fixable. So we're just going to fold these up. Okay. Our next one is right here. And on this one I'm going to do one card and turn the camera off and complete the other two because I think my battery is about to go weird. So I'm just going to lay this out. Okay, so the one thing I learned with this the first time I was doing it is I have to remember my orientation is horizontal this time. And I need to stamp the sentiment first because I'll be dovetailing. And I need the sentiment to frame it out for me. So we're going to use the Donut You Know, or Donut Know. I did this last time. I can't pronounce this at all. Donut Know How I Forgot Your Birthday. That's the sentiment we're going to use. Sentiment. My lips appear to not be wanting to work. Okay. So ink it up. And not quite to the top. Kind of that far down. Ink it up. See how gorgeously these stamp? I'm just close to my heart. Really changed my scrapbooking. I don't stamp a lot in my layouts, but I stamp a lot in my cards. It just adds something to a little greeting card that nothing else can. Okay, so did you notice that it turned pink? See how it's pink on the block? It is a reaction with the acrylic. Sometimes it turns pink, sometimes it turns purple. It does not harm the acrylic. You can still see through it, obviously. I like when it changes colors because I have light colored carpet. And when it falls on the floor, I can find it. Okay, so no laughing at my dovetail skills. We know that I don't dovetail well. And it will probably come out crooked. Oh, that one turned out well. See? Anytime you place an order on my website, you will receive directly from me a handmade thank you card. Okay, same as I did last time. This one's a little crooked. I did the same exact thing last time. I hand make my thank you cards. I think it's very important to send thank you cards with every order. Your order, if you order from me, it will ship directly from corporate, which is in Utah. They no longer ship to the consultant, then it's up to the consultant to ship it to you. It ships directly from corporate, so shipping time is faster. But because you have chosen me as your consultant, I find it's important to send a thank you note, because you could choose to use any consultant you want to, and I appreciate your business. I am a small company. I realize I am what's close to my heart, but I am a independent consultant, which makes me a small company. Okay, so the one thing I learned last time that I wanted to show you, and you could not see on any of the video, which is why this card is why I chose to refilm, is this washi right here. We're going to find where it starts. And I learned a trick last time that I want to show you. We're going to start from the bottom. And again, don't worry about trying to line up the edges. See, I've got this extra hanging off because we can cut that off with our palette knife. If the palette knife does not have a sharp edge per se like a knife, it is kind of sharp in the way it's metal, but not, hey, it's a knife, it's going to cut you. Just be a little mindful that it can cut you, but it's kind of like a butter knife. There we go. It's like a butter knife. Okay, so then this piece here, if it works out like it did on my other cards, and it will cover up, if you've started from the bottom, it will cover up the rough edge on the bottom of your B&T paper and just kind of give it more of a finished look. And I like that. So the instructions say to do it in reverse. The instructions say to do this washi tape and then this washi tape. I find it easier to do it backwards. So we're going to put the banner on. If it'll quit flying around. Careflight is flying over my house. They fly very, very low, so you might be able to hear that. I'm in the flight path of a major trauma center, and we fly people in from Oklahoma all the time. So you might be able to hear Careflight from time to time. So then we're going to add the donut. These cards are so simple to put together. I'm just amazed at how fast they go together. And then you have a cute little birthday card that nobody else will have. And you can send to your friends. And I want that to be on this one. You can send to your friends. And if they're anything like my best friend, Amy has kept every card I have sent her ever. They're all in her kitchen, hanging on a corkboard. I think the corkboard's about ready to fall off the wall because of all the cards on it. There is a downside to being my best friend, though, because she gets the misfit cards. She gets the cards that I put something on upside down, backwards, or whatever. And I leave little notes. Okay, look here, turn the page over, do this, and it just makes her giggle. So then we're going to add sparkles. Because we can. Because it makes everything pretty. Okay, oh, there it is. But say, where's my lid? I don't want to put my knife down without my lid. Okay, so this is this card. Okay, so I've finished assembling the last little bit of these cards here. So I've got everybody lined up so you can see exactly what you end up with at the end of the card workshop. The only thing I do on the inside is I put a little liner of just white daisy on the inside. Take the measurements for this one and make them smaller by 1/4, and it'll fit in here perfectly. So I just do a little white liner, do an envelope. I might stamp a little donut on the envelope to make it correspond, and you have a completed card kit ready to go for birthdays that is, as my daughter says, adorkable. So I hope you enjoyed the workshop. I hope you learned a few techniques you didn't know, and I will see you later. Bye bye.